So welcome to Diary of a Sleeping Goddess. I want to literally share what has just processed through me in a meditation as I was feeling I needed to really be guided to come back into my body, come back into my heart, to find my truth, to calm the thoughts, and to bring guidance to me. You may still see I'm slightly puffy around the eyes. I wanted to share what was shown without having to really get into my head to then mentally process this. I wanted to just literally come on and just share from the rawity that it was. And so I did a video the other day, or a podcast, and I was talking about all the different things that possibly could be taking our mental energy, mental farming. This is huge. This is what's coming up, excuse me, in the throat. And how I was talking about it, and then Sarah Rose, the daughter of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, and how it just suddenly stopped me from talking. I just suddenly stopped and it just called me in. There wasn't words, there wasn't the energy for any more words. And it was very specific words that came through. And the message was hold space in your heart, grounded heart, conscious presence, hold space and see it all. It's like, when you imagine an eye that sees out this perspective, what it can see, and just hold space for all of it, and not to fall into judgment of any of it, to not give it any form of emotional response and attachment to it. And so what this felt again was another initiation of discernment, of coming back to yourself and coming back to your truth. Because there is huge forces out there, without getting into it, that are seeking us to stop us from finding our consciousness, our soul consciousness. Because it is that feeds and keeps this old matrix alive. And so when we believe we don't have soul consciousness, when we believe in separation, all of that is keeping us away from our soul consciousness. And so this meditation that came in, I just had some beautiful music that is all about a mantra of peace, which is most interesting because whenever I've had to move through some form of entity or some form of progression in terms of finding who I truly am, I come into my heart, I come into that present moment, and I choose peace. And it's through that choice, in choosing peace, unconditional love, that takes these layers away from ourselves, that takes the mental energy that's been farmed off into fear and separation. And in the meditation, I could just feel it was really opening very in my forehead, in my third eye, like it was like literally being opened up. And keeping into my breath work, keeping into my heart, keeping into my body, because the mind will disappear. So that's what I've been shown through recent meditations, actually. Be mindful not to just go off into fantasy world, mystical world. And with my heart, and I could feel the energies of Mary Magdalene. I could feel the energies of Yeshua, of Sarah Rose. She's the first one that comes through and holds this. She is this innocence. She is this blueprint that is the Sophia Christos light. She holds what is the wholeness as a human being. She holds that, whereas we have that in us, but we also have a framework of the carbon DNA that runs around it that has us believe we are separate. And she holds this entirety, this innocence, the true being of Sophia Christos, of wholeness. And she's so small and so gentle, yet she's so powerful in her silence and in her presence, and which stopped me from talking in the last podcast. Just literally zipped and just came back to self. So it began with her again being present, and I could see lions, white lions, and all these other creatures, and Isis and Kali, and all these beings or deities of light. But I wasn't focusing on any of them. It's just knowing that they were here, holding this space for me to move through this process. And naturally, as I felt love, I always said unconditional love, it makes me cry. I know that for me, I know I'm in the pure heart of source when I feel that. And much of the time, that's the receiving of that unconditional love has often made it feel quite like, boom, oh my word, I am this love. I am worthy of this love. And that can often bring up emotion. Yet this time, it was so much grief, like so much grief. And I could see, like, if you can imagine a dark veil just being split, like paper, you could just cut through it. And it was cutting through slits and it was opening up, and there's this just bright white light the other side of it. And I have Sophia with me going, there's nothing to fear, dear soul. There is nothing to fear. And I just kept breathing, kept crying, and I can feel it now, the intensity of grief moving out from my body, out from my heart. I felt like my heart was cracking open even more, but coming from a place of wholeness and opening. And I'm just going to keep this rolling because you'll see and feel, hopefully, well, however you respond to this transmission of me sharing this with you. Just absolute grief moving through. I had to really like open it up from my throat, up from my head. And there was the pain of this grief. And this grief that we will all carry is the belief of separation from divinity, from the heart of source. And we will all carry that. And it was like, kept repeating, you are home. You are home. And it started when I had a violet flash of light just come through my head, which is interesting because I'm recording a container called Pathway of the Violet Rose. And I was like, something's happening now because I see that flash of light, crystal violet light in my third eye. And through allowing this grief, just moving through like aching grief, just aching grief, and staying present in my heart and my breath, and having Sophia saying there's nothing to fear and you are home. It just kept pouring. And I truly believe that we all carry this grief. We don't necessarily know it's there. It may well come through when we lose someone, or we grieve what we haven't had. And sometimes grief just follows grief. It's just a complete wave. So sometimes grief can think, I could be crying on something on telly and I'm thinking, why am I having such this visceral response? And I feel we have this depth, and the belief of separation is the grief that we all hold. And this is a process of discernment. Much spirituality will have us. I'm recording this on Lionsgate, for instance, the 8th of the 8th, which to me isn't actually real. It's not on a specific day. especially when you're talking about something that is planetary alignment and that we're using a calendar that was based a few hundred, thousand years ago. It's a falsity. It's not real. And so this is what my other podcast was, is that actually, we got to be really discerning of this. And she's just been showing me how the mind will take us away from this so much, from our truth and who we really are. And I see that in my own personal experiences, my own thoughts, entities attaching to me, recent sort of couple of months of what felt like another attachment. It's been showing up attachments in many forms. So we can be attachment to an outcome, to people, to what we think those people can give us, to money, to things, to material things. It's all attachments. Is where we siphon off our energy and our power and our sovereignty. But the beauty of it as well is that it's done so much inner child healing. It's shown me the self-abandonment that you would practice for the fear of abandonment. It has shown me my inner child desiring that unconditional love. She has come forward to me. It has shown me that also the other beautiful parts of the inner child, the ones that don't need rescue and the ones that are the courageous ones that carry the divinity and the innocence and the purity of what we are. And they haven't been destroyed or taken. They've just been frozen in a time, a portal that's protected them until we're ready to reclaim them and return our innocence. And because our younger selves are the closest part of our divinity, it's the patterning and the conditioning as we get older that closes it down. And you'll probably remember there'll be a part of you as a child that just knew, but the conditioning had taken that belief and that trust in self away. And so none of this is separate. The leading up and everything has brought me to this. And this has been years of this deep inner work. And it's certainly been the last year seems to be the cracking open when I recognized and I could experience entities and knowing that it was false and coming into my heart, coming into heart grounded presence and choosing peace, to choose to connect to the purity that is the light, that is divinity. And through that, you connect through the heart, you connect in through your heart. It's not upwards and connecting out, because everything around us is being distorted in some form. And the only truth that you'll ever find is within your heart. And deeper still for us women, it will drop us into our wombs, but we won't access our wombs until we are fully in unconditional love in our hearts for ourselves. And with that intention to connect into purity for the highest and greatest good. You can't lie with frequency. Frequency is the truth. You can't avoid it. And that's again what it showed me, is that if you need to get into what is your truth, go to purity, go to the sound of the sea, the sound of water, the sound of earth, the sound of bees and insects, the sound of birds, because I believe birds are, their frequency is healing the creatics, the natural frequency that we are, truly are. They're weaving their light and their frequencies, bringing and healing. So get into the truth that is earth. For me, I've got this drum, the womb drum, I call it, on Maria, and she is earth, and I have used that on my clients, and it's like it just cuts through the crap, the absolute crap. It's like the head's, and I had somebody moving an entity out of their body, and it's like, okay, we couldn't do it through breath work, we couldn't do it through energy work that I was doing, because it was just holding on to so much resistance, because we believe this negativity, the thoughts, are us. So we feed it and we just keep it on that loop. and that fear, and it will stay in that loop. It hides in the shadows, hides in our bones, it hides in our DNA. Not to get freaked out by that, but to know when you choose frequency, it cannot hide in unconditional love. Fear is like 30, 40 hertz. Shame is even lower. It can't be together when you tune into that truth and that frequency. And it was from using the drum, and it got very loud and very powerful because it was Mother Earth really going, let's get this shit out of here. Okay, you are not welcome here, and we're moving you out. And it was through frequency, through vibration, that was clearing and cutting through the crap and to remain what was needed. So it kind of created that separation of what is truth, what is divinity, and what is this entity, which got sent up, which got rid of. I feel like my work is really growing into entity work. I've done it with lots of people, and it's nothing to fear, and it's nothing that you fight, because fight just keeps it fueled. And I think this is what, again, what was coming through in the meditation is where being shown just hold space for all of it. The whole polarity of it all, just hold space. You can witness it, you can observe it, but you don't judge it, you don't give it emotion, you just purely see it for what it is. And you don't fight it. You choose love. You choose peace. That's alchemy right there, when you can see the darkest parts of humanity, of self sometimes are in shadows, jealousy. I mean, that sprung up with earlier today, and I'm just like, what is this? It feels like the mind is on a trip of just negativity, and it's like, would you just fuck off? Just fuck off. This is not my thoughts. I've done this practice a long time now. I'm getting more and more, the more and more conscious, the more stillness you create for yourself to become conscious of self. It's to know that you are not your thoughts. If you're not thinking love, joy and peace, when I talk about love, it's unconditional love, not the love that gets bounced around, that has conditions unattached. To give love, when we're pouring out love, often we're pouring out love because actually the deepest desire of it is to have it returned to us. That's still conditional love, even though we think we're just pouring our hearts out and being this beautiful, kind person. It's like, yeah, is there essence underneath that you actually would like it back to you? It goes so deep. And so it's unconditional love. It's looking for joy. It's seeking peace and choosing that. And if it isn't that comes up, and you might have to spend some time to be present with yourself, to understand what is the undertone, where is this coming from? And if it doesn't feel great in your body, start to learn to listen to your body for telling you the truth. It can't do it on our heads alone. And our hearts and everything need to entwine. Our nervous systems will often fall off and go to the natural, what it's used to. So you can't just trust that either. You have to take present moment and be embodied. And ask, what is my truth? Find the quiet, find the void in the head, and to know that you're not your thoughts unless you choose them to be. And so, like I say, I was having this weird jealousy churning around in my head, and I'm like, I choose not to have this. I choose my peace. I choose my peace. And from sitting quietly, this is then what revealed itself. I came home to self. And we are going through a huge time of initiation of discernment. And we need to really have self-care every day and seek to be conscious of why we're thinking things, why we're feeling things, why we're acting the way we do, and get into those layers. And I will reiterate, unless it's unconditional love, joy, and peace isn't your truth. And yet you'll have attachments to your ego, to identities, to your belief systems and everything else that has you believe that's who you are. And you are none of that unless you choose it to be. And we may not even know that's what we are or what we're seeing until we take these moments to create conscious pattern breakers in our hearts, in our body, in our neuroplasticity. And this is the work that I do, whether it's hands-on, whether it's online, whether it's the containers, the Daughter Cell Golden Rose, the Love to Heal, the Pathway of the Violet Rose. This is all about using our hearts and our body and the somatics and bringing alignment and creating the neuroplasticity of what we actually truly desire, what is our truth, and connecting to the blueprint of who we truly are, not the carbon DNA, not the sort of carbon copy of our divinity. And that carbon copy is the belief of separation. It's the fears, the illusions. And that's where all of our actions, where we feed the matrix in that. And until we recognize that, we will continue to feed it. And ultimately, our mission here on this beautiful planet Earth is to free our soul. And by do that, it's reclaiming your consciousness. And that's the revolution. And we'll see things going on in the outside world where we really will feel like the attempt of taking power through authority, through claiming like the air, water, and everything else needs to be charged. There'll be all sorts of games and antics to really get you riled and to believe that you are trying to be controlled, because the more you believe that, the more you keep that loop going. And so you have to hold that discernment and that choice of peace to call back your consciousness. Because the fear that you project and everything else will keep, it's like, I see it as a blue diamond. That is our consciousness. That's our soul consciousness. And that is like a crystal, a quartz that is feeding this green coded matrix. And when we reclaim that back, not through fight, not through force, through peace, through heart conscious peace, we reclaim this heart consciousness that's already within our soul consciousness. That's when it starts to fall. That's when it begins to crumble. When you choose your peace, when you choose to be peace, when you remember that you are one and you are this divinity, that you're divine sovereign being, that nothing has to be ascertained or tamed from outside of you. It's already within you. That is the soul revolution. That's where we claim back our power. And that is when we start to make fucking big shifts in this world. And we do it from within us first. Always. So I wanted to share that with you, beautiful souls. There may be goddesses, there may be gods listening to this. This is for everybody to be able to hear these words and to know that there is always something you can do when you bring the alchemy and the choice of peace, when you feel completely out of peace, out of alignment, completely out of self, and you choose to come back into peace, into stillness, into heart consciousness. That's the alchemy. That's the shift. That's the ripple effects that you're creating throughout in your inner world and your outer world. You are the creator. You are the observer. To have complete full capacity of your mind in consciousness is where your power begins. And that's where it's always laid. And that is what it's always been tried to be got at, because it's been fully known that is where each of us power. We are an expression of God, of divinity. We are that. We are the creators. We are the observers. So we have full power when we remember and become conscious of such. And there'll be much that will be there to try and distract it, to distort it. But keep coming back to peace. Choosing peace, even when our blood is boiling. Come back to peace. And that's not saying that someone's got one over you or anything like that. It's you choosing your freedom. It's you choosing your peace. Forgiveness is huge. It's not like saying it's okay. It's saying I free myself from this pain and this anguish and this suffering. This is huge. This is how we choose it. This is where we make those changes. And so I'll reiterate the frequency to navigate this, especially with the solar eclipse that's coming up. It's going to be bringing dark and light. And it's frequency that is our truth. Okay. Which reminds me of what's coming through and what I've been seeing as descending for us to integrate, which came through again in a Path with the Violet Rose, a meditation I've just done for Venus in Libra, is actually this integration of this angelic frequencies, like a white crystal grid system of geometry for our DNA, for our bodies to integrate. And it will be giving us the structure, the support that we need to move through this, to integrate. And I see not only have we got that coming through, we've also got the golden structure coming up, which is where we do the alchemy. So we have this higher conscious energy coming through for us to integrate into our hearts. This is the macabre. There's the two triangles meeting point at the moment. They haven't quite merged as the macabre, but that meeting point, which is the center, which is the heart, where we hold the two together as one. So it's this soul consciousness, this angelic frequency that is pureness that is coming through, which may well be why we see everything as crazy as it is. But it's that's coming through for us to integrate. It'll be there to be received into our hearts. And then through the alchemy of our spirit, of our human life, the gold of choosing love, choosing peace, to come back to ourselves, that golden structure, that's where we have taken the carbon and given it the fire of truth of self-life, the Sophia Christos light, that creates that carbon in its purity to become a diamond. So this diamond, golden crystal absorbing this white crystalline light. And I know I probably sounded slightly off-piste here, but this is the integration that we're bringing into our DNA, into our blood, into our bones. Everything's about our bones at the moment, about really holding that structure and the higher levels of consciousness, because it flows through our spine, the 33 vertebrae, the number of Yeshua, 33. This is what we are here to embody, this greater level of consciousness. And like I see these entities, they can sit in the bones, they can reside in that. And this is why we can have these thoughts and think it's ourselves, because when we give it the thought, the feeling, it feeds it and it stays us in the loop. It will hold so much resistance to try and be kept there. It's a parasite. It's trying to hold onto the light. But you don't need to fight it. You simply keep choosing love, and that frequency will just separate. And then it goes up to the light. So there's a lot to translate there, to take on in. If there's only one thing that you take from this, is when you find yourself going off kilter, off axis, if it isn't love, joy, or peace, come back into what is pure, come back into the earth, come back into your heart. If you need greater support with this, reach out to me. This seems to be my thing now. And as you live and breathe it, it's like you bring another lens to what you can see in a capacity that you can help others. And reach out. There's the meditations that I do. There's the Infinity Health Hub. There's the different containers for women. There's the Love to Heal for men and women. If you're beginning this journey of understanding, like how your body is this intelligence, this consciousness that is seeking for you to come back to your truth. And it holds everything you need to know. Everything. For your soul to remember, for your soul to embody. The difference is where when we were here before, we came in soul into the body. And now we've got soul amnesia. It's about the body holds all the codes and the remembrance. And it's connecting deep into that. that we will start to become greater consciousness. It's not from intellect, it's not from reciting and remembering. Everything's already within you, and the key is to access that in you. Okay, and you can do that on your own. This is the beauty. This is the beauty of sovereignty. There's no guru. There's no one says, I can do this for you. Let me help you, or anything like that. This isn't what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm holding you the keys of connection for you to connect yourself to find this innate wisdom within you. Your keys. That's ultimately what my work is here to do. Okay. As I free my soul, as I share my journey of my inner freedom and all my healing, the trauma, the alchemy, the life,